let me know in the comments if y'all like this. We'll start the indictments with the juicier parts because I want y'all to answer this question. Wait a minute. Did they get paid or did they not get paid? This prosecution arises from a coordinated execution-style gang murder. At trial, the evidence will show that defendant Banks directed and financed 6 hitmen, including defendants Wilson and Lindsay, to travel across the country to hunt and kill an enterprise rival, TB. Once the co-conspirators arrived in Los Angeles, the hitmen used 2 vehicles to stalk TB for hours before ambushing his vehicle at a gas station in broad daylight, murdering SR. The TS1 alleges that the hitmen committed the murder to promote their position in the Banks gang enterprise, and because they expected and/or were explicitly promised payment. Somebody told them they were going to get paid or they thought they were going to get paid. So if I'm listening to music, I'm going, oh, Durk said if somebody slide, he got, that's your case? Come on, it got to be better than this. Let's get on with the first page and really get into this. Hood lawyer, Setty Nash, hit that like button if you like something. Roll it. So here we go, man. We're going to get straight into it. United States of America, plaintiff versus Durk Banks and everybody else. Opposition to defendant Wilson's and defendant Lindsay's renewed motion to sever. Hearing date, July 1st, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. We might pull up there. I don't know just yet how I'm feeling. But anyways, plaintiff, United States of America. We ain't going through none of that crap. This opposition is based upon the attached memorandum of points and authorities, the files and records in this case, in such further evidence. An argument as the court may permit, dated June 17, 2026. Let's get on to it. They're going to bring the introduction. We're not really going to do that. We're going to go all the way to page 8 to get straight into the argument. We'll kind of dibble a little bit into the first part because I found this shit to be interesting when they actually, when they actually had the damn grand jury game. See, on June 3rd, 2026, the grand jury returned the third superseding indictment, charging all trial defendants with 6 counts, including 2 new crimes: murder and aid of racketeering in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1959A1, count 1, and 2, conspiracy to commit stalking in violation of 18 U.S.C. 37-1, count 2. The TS1 alleges that the subset of OTF members and associates, hereinafter the Banks gang enterprise, engaged in acts and threats of violence at the direction of defendant Durk Banks, including murder and attempted murder, to maintain and enhance their status in the Banks gang enterprise, and to be rewarded by defendant Banks through economic benefits. Oh. The TS1 alleges that the defendant Wilson was a leader within the Banks gang enterprise, and defendant Lindsay was an associate of the enterprise, members who was recruited to commit the Los Angeles murder. Accordingly, as explained below, the TS1 aligns the proof against all defendants around a common racketeering enterprise, common objectives, and common evidence, including acts of violence and inculpatory admissions. In light of the TS1, defendants Wilson and Lindsay, the moving defendants, filed a new request for severance, claiming the evidence related to proving the alleged racketeering enterprise, including the 2019 attempted murder of A.W. in Georgia and the 2022 Chicago murder of S.M., would only be admissible against them in a joint trial. Moving defendants also argue that the evidence be admitted against them. It poses a risk the jury will judge the moving defendants by violence, and the indictment assigns to others. Both arguments fail under well-established law. A very important message from our sponsor, Cloak. Most people who sign up for these kind of services only do it to get rid of those calls. Well, Cloak will keep on doing that, getting rid of the spam calls, but I want to take y'all to the personal right there. They dared me to put my freaking number into it. They said, Nash, we only want to sign up if you're going to sign up with us. I'm already a member because they're showing you all of my information, from my goddamn dad's name, my mama's name, to my freaking social security number. See, what happens is billions are made from your personal information. This is how we stop people from stealing our stuff. This is how you fight back, by getting signed up with Cloak today. And the reason why you need to do it, not because they're going to give you 30% off, but because you need to. This is important for your personal information. A lot of us sign up for new things every single day. And Cloak, they're going to continue the fight from day and from night. Get Cloak today, get 30% off. You can hit that QR code or you can tap the link in the description. Get Cloak today, man. Thank me later. So the feds go on to say two things. Basically, that these cats are gang members and it wouldn't matter because the shit that they did as far as the gang goes would basically go against them, saying if you were a gang member and my name is 1, your name is 2, other person named 3, 4, and 5, right? And they say, well, you know what? 1 got locked up, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 got locked up, but because you all are part of a gang, this is how y'all operate any goddamn ways. You, 2, 3, 4, and 5, y'all was gonna get screwed anyways because we were gonna use that evidence. This is what the feds are saying, but it gets a little more drastic. This prosecution arises from a coordinated execution-style gang murder. At trial, the evidence will show that defendant Banks directed and financed 6 hitmen, including defendants Wilson and Lindsay, to travel across the country to hunt and kill an enterprise rival TB. Once the co-conspirators arrived in Los Angeles, the hitman used 2 vehicles to stalk TB for hours before ambushing his vehicle at a gas station in broad daylight, murdering SR. The TS1 alleges that the hitman committed the murder to promote their position in the Banks gang enterprise, and because they expected and/or were explicitly promised payment. The court's previous denial of defendant's motion to sever. On February 26, 2026, the court denied defendant Wilson's initial motion to sever in a thorough, reasoned order. The court described the applicable legal standard that strongly favors joinder, explaining that joinder is the rule rather than the exception, noting that a district court should grant a severance under Rule 14 only if there's a serious risk that a joint trial will compromise a specific trial right of one of the defendants or prevent the jury from making a reliable judgment about guilt or innocence. Applying that law, the court found no basis for severance, even noting that granting severance might have been an abuse of discretion the other way. The court reasoned that the defendants were indicted together for their alleged participation in the same conspiracy, and the vast majority of evidence would be admissible against each defendant in separate trials. The court further noted that severance is especially disfavored in conspiracy trials precisely because the concern for judicial efficiency is less likely to be outweighed by possible prejudice to the defendant, when much of the same evidence would be admissible against each of them in separate trials. Basically said, yo, this gang started here. Y'all started becoming members here, got to this crime right here. We caught y'all for this shit, so we gonna get right here. But we're gonna bring all this up because Durk is the leader. It's basically said we're taking down the whole gang. We're gonna show you how the whole entire gang operates. This is their pattern of behavior, and we had to bring that in. And I'm gonna be honest, the judge is gonna allow this shit. It gives the inception, but there's still a hard part that they're not telling you, and that's the money. When did the money start looking at people's hands? Like there's this weird ass thing that's going on, and I'll save it for the last part, but y'all can understand, right? That if I'm not getting paid for shit, why am I holding on? But this next clip, bruh, this shit right here is fucking bad. Like this is fucking horrible. TS1 alleges that the Bank Gang enterprise, of which defendant Wilson is alleged to be a core member, who, among other things, recruited defendant Lindsay to commit the Los Angeles murder, commit violence to promote the enterprise, and seek revenge against its rivals, including members of the Gangster Disciples gang and individuals who harmed, attempted to harm, or disrespected members and associates of the Banks Disciples gang, Banks Gang enterprise. For example, following the November 2020 killing of DB, who was an alleged member of the Banks Gang enterprise, which makes no effing sense. By the way, if you never mind, whatever. That shit just don't make any goddamn sense, man. Anyways, in a Black Disciples gang and a close friend and associate of defendant Banks and another enterprise member conspired to murder those whom they perceive as responsible for DB's death, including TB, as alleged in counts 1 through 6 of the TS1. The TS1 also alleges that defendant Banks and the leadership of the Banks gang enterprise, including defendants Wilson and co-conspirator 5, recruited other gang members and/or affiliates to commit violence for the enterprise, including defendant Lindsay and Jones and co-conspirator 2. The TS1 further alleges that defendant Banks, the leader of the Banks gang enterprise, communicated with enterprise members via group text messages, including defendant Wilson, about an enterprise member, a shooter, and a 2022 Los Angeles murder, SR, that the enterprise suspected of snitching specifically. In August 2023, defendant Banks messaged defendant Wilson and other co-conspirators saying the enterprise member and suspected government informant was just ready to snitch clear as day, to which defendant Wilson replied that suspected government informant thinks he can break us down. Defendant Banks later replied, reassuring the group of Enterprise members, said, as long as we don't break, they can tell him whatever. As proof of the racketeering enterprise, boy, fuck. This is bad, nigga. This is bad, cuz I can't even sit here and act like this shit ain't bad, man. As proof of the racketeering enterprise, the TS1 further alleged specific predicate acts of enterprise violence specifically. It alleges that defendants Banks, Wilson, Lindsay, in Houston, and others, including various members and associates of the Banks Gang enterprise, engaged in acts of violence and furtherance of the enterprise, including but not limited to the murder of A.W. in Atlanta, Georgia, on or about February 5th, 2019. The murder of S.M., a rival gang member in Chicago, on or about January 27, 2022, as alleged in the TS1, the Banks Gang enterprise would engage in a racketeering activity for the purpose of, among other things, one, preserving, protecting, and promoting the enterprise, enhancing the reputation of its members and associates, and enriching defendant Banks and the enterprise members and associates, including by commercializing the enterprise's violence in public social media, music videos, and lyrics. Two, recruiting other individuals. We don't really give a damn about all that. We gonna leave it right there. Oh, y'all probably gonna look at me as like the biggest Durk supporter. Spin it to win it, Nash. That can be interpreted anyways. This nigga trying to snitch on us. We ain't did shit. So nigga hold it down. POP. But he doesn't say specifically what he's snitching about. See, there's no specificity right there. It's just a broad ass thing. But also you gotta ask the question, let's not be stupid, Nash. What is he snitching about? You know what I'm saying? He never say like, oh, dude finna go lie on us and say all this shit, because that would mean that you have further knowledge of this shit. So you can't really say that. And you said somebody about to go snitch on us. For what? Like, you do have to ask that question, bro. What do you mean they about to snitch on you? For what? And you already know who it is. So there's that. But the best part about that is it doesn't say, let's get rid of them, let's put money on their heads, let's do any of this shit. It's just like, nigga, just shit. Don't even worry about that. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, discussing somebody who's snitching is not a crime. The word snitch really come from the police. And to be fair, you don't want to gift your people grief. You don't want to gift them bad news. You want to tell them, man, I don't give a damn what they about to say about us. I don't give they claim they got 20 snitches. Long as we hold it down, we ain't got nothing to worry about. We gonna go home. So that you can take it that way. It's a bad message because it can be interpreted in many ways. It just can. I can't ignore it. So it is what it is on that one. Do I still believe he's coming home? Yeah, because if that's the shit y'all have, why didn't y'all put that out before? They're talking about lyrics and all this shit, and I didn't get a chance to really read the footnotes. I seen the shit that they said, oh, in May, we were letting them know we're going to introduce this and introduce that. If I'm Drew, I'm saying you bitches were talking about y'all never were going to introduce it until you realize you were losing this case, which to me reeks of desperation. But there's one chilling thing that has not been proven nor done, and that's the murderer of DB, aka King Von. We ain't heard of nobody spinning on shit as far as Lil Tim go. Just being fair. So some people can go, oh, he was in the house, he was doing this, he was doing that, and all that shit. Savannah ain't that big, bruh. And Lil Tim definitely was letting his nuts hang and dropping his location and all that shit. So why hasn't anybody sent a single shot towards goddamn Lil Tim's way? Just saying. Y'all know how this go. The feds gonna do what they gotta do. They got a job to do. They got a conviction they trying to get. So I understand that, but there's still parts that, to me, it's like, I can't really ignore that. But that text message, that's bad as hell. But y'all, let me know y'all thoughts on this one. Maybe I'm not keeping it fair, square, obvious, and honest. Or maybe I am. Y'all, jump in the comments. Let me know. Chud the Grifter, the Builder, the whatever the hell, he bumped his mother effing head today. They got footage of the crime and it ain't what he say. Click right here for that full video or click right here for the playlist to just keep up with it all and let it play in the background, y'all. Let me help you get you through your day. Seti Nash, the only hood lawyer. I will catch y'all in the next one.